And today I would like to talk to you about bipolar and the ways that you can get it. So basically, you can inherit it. It goes like me. I got it from my dad, and he must have gotten it from a female relative. Because I don't remember my grandmother or my grandfather having bipolar, although my grandfather did also drink quite a lot, and he died in an accident when he was still very young. And the other way, the other way of getting it is being abused by parents or people while a child is young, when there is issues in terms of the development of the child because of abuse, and then also traumatic things that happen to you while you're still in developmental phase. And I've actually got it from both of those things. First of all, I had a traumatic experience when I was 14, and a couple things happened after that as well, to sort of just load onto it. And then my dad, like I said, had bipolar. But we only realized he had bipolar when he was already in his 40s. So my dad was an alcoholic, but he was a nice alcoholic. He was never angry, never anything but just nice and friendly and happy when he would drink. So basically what happened was, when I was 14, it was in the month of March. Both myself and my boyfriend, we had our birthdays in March. But this happened in the beginning of March, and I got grounded by my father because he was just trying to protect my chastity, if you want to say it like that. And he was trying to be a good father, and I love him for that. So at 14, I didn't love him for that. But then I decided I'm going to run away from home. Okay, so I ran away from home, and I went to various places with various people, all friends of ours that lived within sort of a 2 kilometer radius. And my parents drove out a whole tank of petrol thinking I was in town. Meanwhile, I was like, for some time, meters from my house. And by 8 o'clock, my boyfriend said, "No, I'm going to take you home because your parents are not going to stop until they find you." So he takes me home. And then my dad starts giving me a hiding from the car all the way. Sorry, just want to add some light. So all the way into the house, and then he asks me, who were you with? Where were you? And my mom is going on about the condom in my purse. And my dad, I tell him we were with this guy, Neil. He was a 28-year-old Indian man who loved socializing with the teenagers, buying them alcohol and cigarettes and whatever they wanted. So basically, he wasn't a good guy, because as an adult, he should have stepped in and said, "You know what, don't do this," or, well, he didn't do any of that. So basically, my dad started chasing after him. He knows in what area he lives, and they are literally driving very fast on this highway. And my dad manages to lose him in the houses. Obviously, he didn't know the area as well as he did, but he came back home. Before he came back home, my mother was going on about the condom, and she slapped me, but I had braces, so my whole mouth was bleeding. And he came back, he said he couldn't find him, and then I went to, I was crying myself to sleep. The next morning when I wake up, my parents say, get dressed, we're going to the police station. So we get there and we go to the Children's Protection Unit. They made me give a whole statement about what happened, who was I with, when was I, where, everything. Then they asked me, will I be a informant for them? And little Miss Naive here just says yes. And that's not for now, but later on. So we leave, we go home, we watch Home and Away and Neighbours, because back then they used to show it on South African channels. So when it was done, it was about 1 o'clock. So I went outside, my boyfriend whistled to get my attention. I saw him and I went up towards him because it was about 100 meters away. So when I get there, I say to him that, I've spoken to my father and he said that I am definitely grounded, but it doesn't mean that we have to break up. And he just said all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm going to kill myself. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I'm going to kill myself because things are not going to change. And then I obviously begged him not to, but then he ran away. He wouldn't listen to me. And I was hysterical and I told my mom, and she gave me 2 tranquilizers. Remember, I'm only 14 and I weigh like 45. So 2 tranquilizers is a lot. We get into the bucky, parents sitting in front and myself and my sister in the back. We go to my cousin and my aunt's florist inside of a grocery store. And they leave me. They just leave. And I just sort of hang around there. I had something to eat. I saw one of my classmates. He actually asked me where was I, and I just said, it's a very long story. And then they took me at 5 o'clock. My aunt, my cousin, sorry. My cousin took me home. And one turn away from my house, I can see the front of my house. And I looked and I saw a police van. And I said to my cousin, what the hell is going on? Why is there a police van? And she said she doesn't know. So then we get there, I get out of the car, I walk a few steps, I see there's policemen there and my parents. And then I say, where is Edwin? And they say he didn't make it. And I literally just collapsed. And I was taken inside. I was crying, sobbing like a baby. My mom gave me tranquilizers and I was crying and crying. And eventually I cried myself to sleep. And then The next morning, all I can remember is opening my eyes and crying again. Just crying, and my mom gave me tranquilizers. And I'm thankful that she did that, because physically I couldn't face that without help. My boyfriend had just committed suicide, and it's all my fault. And I've actually made peace with this after years and years of counseling from my psychiatrist. I think I've dealt with this, but as I said, it is a possible cause for the fact that I have bipolar, because there's more things that happen in the upcoming months. It gets worse. But thank you very much for listening, and I will make another video as soon as possible. Thank you. Goodbye.